All right, so JR, OneDopePhotographer. I gotta ask, how did you get the name? How did you pick your at name?
It's funny. I went with a couple different things. So, like we were just kind of talking about, and I'm sure we'll get into that later, but I was a DJ. So when I first started, I was kind of using my DJ name. And then I'm like, I kind of want to separate that. I don't want to have that guy be the same guy. Mm-hmm. So I kind of wanted to make it different. And then I did just JR Hutter Photography. And I'm like, that's just boring.
Right.
And that's also, people always have like Hunter, it's Hutter. Mm-hmm. So they always mess it up. And they always say Hunter. So I knew trying to say that to someone like, hey, here's my Instagram, they'd screw it up or they wouldn't remember. Right. So I wanted something that was a little bit more, something you can remember easier. Mm-hmm. And it just actually, some guys like literally he's like, man, you're one dope photographer, man. And it just kind of clicked. And I'm like, that'd be kind of a cool name. Let me see if that's on Instagram. And it was there, which I was kind of surprised because it's kind of like, I don't know, a little basic, but, so that's what I went with.
And it worked.
Yeah,
I want to say
it's easier to remember, so I can just tell people and they can remember. And
it is.
That's what it was all about.
Well, the cool thing too is that you can back it up. So you are a dope photographer, or you wouldn't be here.
I appreciate that.
So far, I've always started off the podcast by asking, what is your go-to camera and your go-to lens? So I start off every episode with that question. So what are your go-to camera and lens? Well,
camera, so this journey's been short for me so far. So I've really only dabbled a little. I've had 3 cameras in my life.
Okay.
3 camera bodies.
Okay.
A Nikon D90 back in the days, what I started with when I was starting to dabble in photography that didn't last very long. And then I bought the Sony Alpha 7 III.
Okay, not a bad starting camera.
And then I upgraded to the Sony Alpha 7 IV.
Not bad at all.
So the 7 IV obviously is my go-to with my my 85 millimeter Grandmaster.
Gotcha.
So
beautiful lens for portraits.
Yeah. So that's what I go with. I've used I use my 24 millimeter for nightlife.
Okay.
Just because if it's a big group or whatever, or I'm packed in like a nightclub, I can have some room. But I'm really wanting to get that 50 millimeter.
The nifty 50. The 1.2. The new 1.2 and it's super small too.
Yeah. So
did you see
that's going to be my next purchase. But yeah, the Sony Alpha 7 IV, 85 millimeter. Perfect. 1.4, that's where I'm at.
Perfect. And are you mostly a portrait photographer?
Yeah, that's what I would consider myself. Should we get into the journey of
I know I do want to get into it. How'd you get started?
So when I said I dabbled before, so I've been a DJ for 15 years now, maybe even longer. Okay. I think 2007, 2008 is when I started. I'm not going to do the math right now. I'm still kind of tired from this weekend, but so, like I said, I was DJing, and I was constantly hiring photographers and videographers to get content for me, to promote parties and what I was doing. And a lot of times they just weren't getting the vision that was in my head in the camera.
Right.
So I'm like, I want to try to do this myself, and I went and bought the Nikon D90 and I dabbled and I was doing my thing. And what I would be doing is I'd be DJing and then I'd put on a song that was like 4 minutes long and I'd run around and take pictures and I'd go back and I'd mix the song and I was like, what am I doing? This is just too much. And then I'd hand it off to a friend and I was like, okay, it was a nice thought, but that's just not working. And that kind of faded off. So that's originally how I bought my first camera. And I was always kind of around photography and videography, being in the nightlife industry, not as much obviously in portraits and stuff like that, but that's what I did. And fast forward years later, COVID hit, and I'll make this as safe for work. And
no, please go all up.
Okay, well, whatever. So COVID hit, and I was hanging out with a young lady, and we get into we started camming on Chatterbait. I don't know if you know what that is. But,
I do.
Okay, so we started camming, and we just decided on a whim one night, let's just log into this thing and see what happens. And we made like $800 that night.
There we go.
So I'm like, okay, this is like a thing.
Yeah.
And we made a schedule and we made an OnlyFans, and the ball is rolling, and it just, the owners of Chatterbait actually reached out to us and wanted us to do other stuff for them on the side for their YouTube channel. And it just became, it was pretty wild. It was a wild journey, and we blew up. So what I did is I went and I bought all this nice lighting and all sorts of stuff, fun cameras and all sorts of things. Then I rented a warehouse that I turned into a studio that I used for all our broadcasts and all our content and all that stuff. And everything was going well. We were making, I mean, at one point, I think some of our best weeks, we were making like $8,000 a week.
Wow.
You know, and just
very impressive.
Not, you know.
And that's you making the content, the photos, videos, all
videos,
that
photos, everything, you know. And I mean, it does become part of a kind of like a full-time job.
It is.
But, you know, I mean, the idea was we're gonna travel the world and be able to have sex anywhere and then make money. And then it's okay. All right. Yeah. So it sounds like a great idea on paper. But her and I did not work out as a couple. I hope she doesn't ever watch this. Her and I didn't work out as a couple, and I kind of knew that was coming. And I finally was like, I sat down with her and I said, listen, this is just not working as a couple. Obviously, the business is booming. I want to try to continue that. And she thought about it. She's like, okay, I'll try it. And we came up with like all these little rules. If we're broadcasting, there's no kissing, there's no this or no that. And it worked for like 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. And then she found out that I hung out with my ex-girlfriend. And she did not like that. So she actually went into the studio, painted the walls, like
she
put a note on the wall. Not trash it. She was trying to send a message.
Okay.
She painted some stuff that was relevant to our relationship on the wall and put a letter on there. And like, it was just this big ordeal. And that obviously she got up and quit, you know. And then here I am with thousands of dollars in equipment and all this stuff and this beautiful studio that I pieced together. And you know, I was like, okay, well, I have to do something with this. Mm-hmm. And what can I do? And I was like, well, obviously I enjoy photography. I've learned about photography, you know, a little bit. Let me go more in depth. And I started just doing tutorials, you know, watching you know, Pi Jersa is? Mm-hmm. Okay, so he was the first guy that I saw and liked, and I got his stuff off of, what's his, do you know?
I don't. I mean, I'm a big YouTube University guy.
So. Okay, so basically I get all the stuff, and I went through his whole like course from the beginner to the lighting mm-hmm. and the whole thing. And man, I tell you what, I wasted a lot of money. Just everything he had, I ended up buying that I never used. But that was kind of where I started, and then I went more into just more tutorials. Joey Wright, mm-hmm. I watched on his stuff because I just love his
Twitch
work.
That he does.
Well, he put out a thing on fstoppers.com. Right. So that was like a bikini thing. I watched that and just a couple other things, you know, and then just YouTube videos mm-hmm. and stuff like that. And that's literally what I did. And I had, you know, I'd made some money and I went and bought a camera and I just kind of went from there. And I would be outside and I'd just snapping and working on learning the exposure and I kind of just went from there. But you know, I work in the nightlife industry, mm-hmm. so naturally I was surrounded with lots of beautiful women. Mm-hmm. I actually was the entertainment director and marketing director of a strip club for about 2 years. Okay. And that's kind of what funded my photography because we were cranking after COVID. We were cranking. Right. So I was able to afford, you know, buying pro photo gear, all the good stuff.
The lenses, the lights, the boxes.
All that stuff. But yeah, it just kind of, it worked out for me. And I'm surrounded by all these beautiful women, like I said. So I was just started asking my friends, I'm like, hey, let's go take some pictures, you know, and, you know, it just kind of spiraled from there. And then that's kind of where I fell. Cause you know, that's mostly, I guess, what I was looking at and what I enjoyed looking at. And the people I followed were all pretty much portrait photographers. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what I went with.
That's amazing.
So, yeah.
That's crazy. And how long between you starting to now? It's been 2 years?
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
And you've grown like crazy in 2 years.
I know. It's weird to me. It's still weird to me.
No, the talent is there. You have a cool way. And I say this a lot. So in our industry, it gets very, very sexual or very, very elegant, right? You have the fashion, the swimwear, the lingerie. It's Miami, so the weather's always nice here. But it's very easy to go from being classy to being tacky and to being trashy in photos. And you have that. You keep an elegance to your photos, which I respect a lot. Yeah. Because it's very easy to go to the tacky,
I try to stay away from that as much as mm-hmm. possible. Like I see a lot of these guys and they have beautiful work, mm-hmm. but they're putting out a lot of that.
It's very sexualized.
I don't want to act like it's
not a bad thing.
Not a bad thing at all. It's a niche. And right. It's people need to do it. And, right. you know, there's a consumer that wants that. Uh-huh. But I feel like doing that will close other doors for me. 100%. So I try to stay, you know, keeping it classy, mm-hmm. as they say. Yeah. And I just one time in particular, I wrote this girl, and she was like a model, a real model, and she was like with an agency, and I was like, I'd love to shoot with you.
Yeah.
And she's like, no offense to you, but I don't want to be shown next to the strippers you have on your page.
Wow.
Straight like that. She's kind of a dick, but
yeah,
whatever. But from that moment, I went through and I just started deleting anything that was kind of like a little, whatever. So, but yeah, so now it's like I try to just keep it,
no, it's very, very elegant,
sexy but classy,
exactly.
And not cross any of those boundaries.
Definitely. Like, where do you want to take photography? Do you want to go that like high fashion route, or do you want to stick with?
I want to dabble, and I kind of just don't know where to start. And it's a different. I really do enjoy looking at like the high fashion, studio stuff like that. And I wouldn't mind giving that a shot. Right now, like I found myself in the wrestling niche, and that's why like we were talking earlier, like I'm in Orlando a lot. So I've been shooting with a lot of girls that are either WWE or ex-WWE.
Very cool.
And that's why I'm in Orlando, because a lot of them live there.
Right.
So it's just, that's working out for me because they have such a strong fan base that it's helping me grow quicker.
How did that start?
So I'm a wrestling fan. I've always been a wrestling fan. I actually was going to, like, when I got out of high school, I was going to wrestling school, and I did 2 weeks at a wrestling school when I got out of high school. And
you've done it all, man.
Yeah, I've had a wild ride, but I was going to go to wrestling school. Like, if you look at my high school yearbook, it's all like, good luck in the WWE and all this stuff. Cause I was like, that's what I'm doing. I ended up joining the military, did school, went in the military, spent a year in Iraq. And I was actually in Iraq working out every day. Like we actually stayed in one of Saddam's palaces and turned it into a gym. And like, I was working out, and we had these doctors that were like on our post, the Iraqi doctors that were getting steroids from Turkey and selling it to the soldiers.
Get out of here.
Yeah. And I came back, like, it was funny because I was about 190 pounds when I left for Iraq, and I came back about 245.
Muscle.
Yep. Just a total beast. Like, I didn't fit in anything that I had. And everyone knew. They're like, oh, okay, someone was doing steroids while they were gone. And I was like going to go to wrestling school again, and I was going to do this. And I got back here, and, whether we want to say it was PTSD or whatever it was, I just started doing stupid things, drugs, alcohol, girls. That's all that mattered at that point. And I kind of lost my drive for that. And it's kind of pisses me off from time to time when I think about it, but it's kind of cool where I'm at now. It was one girl. She's married to a pro wrestler, and her name is Danielle Vido. And she has had this bright red hair, and I saw her on Instagram because I follow that community. I'm like, I want to shoot with this girl. Yeah. And she actually responded to me because that's what I was doing. I was constantly writing people, let's shoot. And, I don't know, maybe 20% of them would actually get back to me. So she got back to me, and she is just friends with everyone. And she was kind of like the one that started it all, and then her friends asked who I was, and I kind of branched off, and now it's like I'm constantly shooting wrestlers, and it's been beneficial. So I'm good. I'm happy where I'm at right now. I'm sticking with this. I'm good. I've been super busy, so I'm trying to prioritize what I do.
Definitely.
But the wrestling stuff is probably where I'm going to stick with for now. Okay. And see how far I can take that and grow. I started a Patreon account and it's like all wrestling fans, and they all very, very cool. They pay me to like access like exclusive photos and videos. Very cool.
And it's working out well.
It's working out well. So what I do basically, if I go to Orlando and I rent an Airbnb for 3 or 4 days, whatever it is, and then, gas and all this stuff, it's kind of hard for me to come out of pocket for all that. So that's why I started the Patreon, to pay for that, to cover some of those expenses. And that's what I do. I'll say, hey guys, I'm going to shoot such and such. If you want to donate, whatever, I'll send you a signed Polaroid. Nice. And I do a lot of signed Polaroids, and I send them out in the mail to them after the shoot and give them like exclusive photos and video content.
Very, very dope, man. I'm glad you figured out a way to combine passions with what you're doing.
That's what I'm saying. It's really cool because I love wrestling. I love the wrestling community. I love photography, and I've kind of meshed them together. And it's kind of, I feel like it's almost like maybe at the bottom floor, and we're gonna take it there.
I like it. I mean, I feel the energy, bro.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel burnt out by all the driving and all the shooting that you're doing? Because you shoot a lot. Like I thought I shot a lot, but you shoot a lot.
I backed it off a little bit. Mm-hmm. So yes, all the time. So like I was telling you before, I work in nightlife. So I'm now managing a bar nightclub in West Palm, and I work till 6 a.m. Luckily, that's only 3 days a week, which leaves my Monday through Thursday open for photo shoots. But I do get burnt out. So my idea now is like once a month, getting an Airbnb, shooting a bunch of content,
smart,
and then editing it, slowly editing over the next week or so, and then kind of taking 2 weeks to just get what I need to get done in life. I have a kid, hang out with the kid, all that stuff. So yes, I get burnt out, but I'm trying to figure out and prioritizing. Yeah. Before it was like somebody over me, hey, let's shoot. I'll be like, okay, let's go. And now it's like I almost have a hard time saying no to people, but I have to. Because I don't want to burn myself out. I don't want to overdo it and not spend time with my family or my kid, that kind of thing. So prioritizing what I'm doing is kind of where I'm at right now.
No, it's super smart. And I'm glad that you said it that way, because I find that I meet photographers sometimes and they're really, really amazing photographers, but they're not the best businessmen, right? Yeah. They're not the best at delegating. They're not the best at being organized. And so they make amazing work. But then you hear that they have a 3-month waiting period to get a photo.
Yeah, that's crazy. I hear that all the time. Girls tell me that, like, I waited 6 months for my photos. Yeah, and I'm like,
it's
what?
Insane. Like, even if you're collabing, more than 30 days sounds crazy to me.
I think there's been a few that have slipped through the cracks where I've gotten busy and I lost focus a little bit because I started working on other projects. But man, most of the time, it's 3 days.
Yeah,
for me,
100%.
100%. The most is 2 weeks.
Same. That's my range too.
Yeah. So that's crazy. I've heard that.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I've been successful so far is because I have a business mind and I'm good at marketing. I've always been that's been my background, marketing and promotion and, social media and stuff. So I think that's kind of what's helped me obtain what I have so far in a short period of time.
Fast, man.
Yeah,
so fast.
Yeah. Honestly, it hasn't even been 2 years. I bought my camera in November of 2020.
Yeah.
So so it's been a year and 11 months.
I'm super impressed. I think the first time I saw you was in that group chat that we were in, right? Like photographers group chat.
That thing fell off.
It ended up being like an OnlyFans shout out page. And I'm
I know.
Not what I expected, which I don't, shout out to everyone who does OnlyFans, but that wasn't what I expected in that group chat. But I saw your work and I said, yo, this guy's dope.
Thank you.
And you have a way with color. Your colors are very vibrant.
Yeah.
How did you develop your style?
How did I develop? I feel like I'm still developing my style.
Nah, right. Whenever somebody posts a picture of you, I know it's you 100%.
You know what's funny is my girlfriend said the same thing to me. She's like, I know. She's like, even if you haven't shown me the photo and I see it, I know it's yours. Yeah. And like for me, Joey Wright, I'll bring him up again because it's the same thing. I know when I see a photo, I know before I even tag, I know that's his photo. Yeah. Just a lot of dabbling, just like taking the photos and just messing around. I think I would say the base of where I started was from like Pi Jersa and Joey Wright. Yeah. And then I've kind of just messing around with the sliders and kind of seeing what I like. And like, I know that like, for instance, I really hate when there's like yellow tones in the skin.
Right.
So I'm kind of bumping back the tint more to like the pink side a little bit and taking a little bit of the...
Your skin tones are almost perfect. Like they're very deep. They're very rich skin tones.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I shoot for. I look at the skin tones. I think that's the most important for me. And sometimes it sucks because I ignore everything else that's going on in the photo, but and I always kind of, cool the picture off a little bit. Yeah. And then it's just messing around with,
No, I think you have perfect skin tones. I think I've told people this before. Like, your skin tones are perfect. They're spot on.
Nice.
Every time, I've been seeing and the cool thing and something I'm learning on and something that I struggle with is being consistent per photo.
Oh God.
Right. So it's like having the same more or less skin tone, the same colors per photo.
It's hard to do because
extremely hard.
Skin tones are different.
100%.
And it drives me nuts. And I'm learning that it's weird. You can look at a person and then when you see them in camera, things are just very different.
Very different.
You have like a style, but sometimes someone's skin tone just doesn't match with it. And you sit there and you're just like, what the hell? I can't figure this out. Yeah. It's like, it drives me crazy, but I don't know if you're the same way, but I will post a lot of stuff and then I'll go back and something will kind of annoy me after I've already posted it. If you look at my archive, there's like hundreds of photos.
Mine is the same way.
Because I feel bad because I wonder if like, does the girl know that I put this in the archive? It's not because I think she looks bad. It's because like something is driving me crazy.
Right.
And it's usually the skin tone. It's usually like, okay, I don't like where that's at. So, I mean, that's kind of my biggest thing right now is just trying to find that.
I mean, I think you perfected it almost. Like it's insane.
Yeah.
Does it ever happen to you where you edit a set of photos and you spend like a few hours on these photos? You take a break, put it down, and you come back to it and you just hate every photo.
Yes.
And you just hate everything. And
and I actually, if you look, I posted like 2 or 3 posts ago. I reposted a picture because I love the picture so much. It's of Scarlett Bordeaux, professional wrestler. She's standing there leaning up against the wall in the bathroom, and it's a beautiful shot. And then I posted it, and I just kept looking at it. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, God. And then I realized there's just like a green tint to it. It's sort of like shooting like in white rooms where you can look at the wall and you can use that as a reference. Yeah. But I'm sitting there's like a green tint. And my girlfriend's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, it fucking drives me nuts. So I was like, I deleted it, re-edited it, uploaded it again. And I said in there, like, what I should do and what I'm just very impatient. And what I need to do is like edit a set of photos and leave them for a day, come back to them, then look at them again, and then go from there. Because for some reason, like, you know, you see it looks good then, and then you go back to it and it's completely different.
Yeah. Or even when you switch mediums, you go from the computer to the phone.
That's a different photo I know. That's like the crazy thing now is you have to deal with that. You have everyone looking at it from different avenues, and especially phones with the true tone, and
it's a completely different photo.
Like I'll look at the photo, I'll be sitting in my car, I'll look at the photo, and then I'll go outside and I'll look at the photo and I'll be like,
why so dark?
What the hell is going on? But yeah, what was you're just talking about the skin tones. I don't know where I was going with that, but yes, I appreciate
no, it's perfect. That's why one of the things that caught my eye when I see your photos. And again, you have a style. Like I know it's you every single time you post, and that's something where
because I don't see it. It's funny. It's like
I keep hearing that.
Yeah.
Like I don't think I have a style, right? But I've heard someone tell me I do.
You definitely do. Yeah.
I don't see it at all. And it gets me all the time because I want to develop a style, and then me trying to develop a style is. I feel like I'm getting further away from what I want. Yeah, that's just,
and it's just like I'm learning, and I think another thing that has helped me develop a style is constantly learning more and watching other people and seeing how someone else edits their photo and someone else, because there's always little bits and pieces of things I'm like, okay, let me try that. Oh, I like that, and it's just kind of combining everything I'm learning into yourself, into what I like. Yeah. But yeah, like I said, there's what you said about having that consistency is like one of the things that drives me
it's hard,
crazy.
Man. It's super hard.
And that's another reason why I'll archive photos is because I'm like, that doesn't fit. It doesn't fit on my feed. You know, the picture even may be great. The girl looks beautiful, but it just for some reason doesn't fit for me. So I'll archive it.
Right.
You know, I could probably sell a special subscription to go, hey, go look at my archive photos because I have probably more content there than I do on my main feed.
Really?
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. I'll look later. It's probably a couple hundred photos.
You know what messes me up, and no shit to anybody. I hope nobody sees this like a bad thing. But like when you get somebody who wants to collab on a post without letting you know beforehand, and it's like I want to collab in it because it's a great photo, but it's just not where I'm at anymore in my. And like I feel bad saying no, so I accept it. You know,
I do that. Like, I do that all the time.
Yeah.
I actually, on my way here, a girl did that, and then she's a good friend of mine, and she's beautiful, and her pictures are always awesome.
Right.
But you know what I'll do is I'll accept it. I'll let it ride for 5 hours, 6 hours, half day, full day even, and then I'll stop sharing it just so they can get a little extra exposure on their photo.
Definitely.
But the same thing, if it doesn't fit, like especially like
an older photo, maybe
an older photo, or like having the same girl like 4 posts in a row, like she keeps adding, let's go, it's enough of you on my feed.
Right. So. Well, it's different when you're the photographer or the model. Model can have your photos 10 times in a row. Yeah,
exactly. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like she hasn't shot in a while. The girl I'm speaking to, she hasn't shot in a while. We've shot like twice, so she has like her last, 10 photos is one of our photos, and that's fine on her end. And actually, she told me it was kind of funny. She's like, my photographer, I guess she's from Atlanta, and her photographer in Atlanta was like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of jealous. I'm kind of like, you got this new photographer you're working with there, and it's all his photos. And
right, no, I agree with you. I get not jealous, right? But I'll be on my For You page, and I'll see a shot, and I'm just like, there's so much talent in photography.
Yeah.
And every single day I find a new photographer that I've never heard of that has 100,000 followers.
Yeah.
And they're from Russia or they're from Europe or wherever. And they're so talented, man. It makes me want to throw my camera away.
Yeah, I know.
I feel like I'm getting good, and then it's like I see something else. And
it's you know, I never heard about the term imposter syndrome until later. And I was like, sometimes you know what that is?
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel it every day.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's like people are like, oh, your photography's awesome, but I'm like, I see like same thing. I'm like, man, I'm missing something. Something's not right.
Man, I see you're working. I feel that way sometimes too. I'm like, man, what am I doing wrong?
We're all just a bunch of, you know,
self-critical,
insecure. But there's what I do like. There's a couple guys when you say like out of the country. I think there's like some German photographers that do these really dark and moody shots that focus on like the body and the you know, the muscles, and there's shadows and it looks really cool. So I kind of want to do some stuff like that. But yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you.
Do you ever run out of ideas, or is it always something new that you want to shoot?
You know, I feel like I need to start coming up with, I think what would take me to the next level is I really started taking my time and putting the shoots together and the outfits and doing themes and fun stuff, because I think the problem right now is like, how many times can I tell the girl, okay, pack some lingerie, pack a bikini, and let's get this party started. Right. I think I have ideas, and I want to do, like, I was just thinking, like, I want to do like an 80s theme bikini shoot where it's like, you know, maybe like a retro type bikini with some pool toys and shit like that, or whatever it may be. And I want to start theming the shoots a little more, but obviously that ends up taking more time. And to me, it's just like content. That's how everyone is now. It's like, you got to just bust it out. I did just do a themed Halloween shoot with one of the wrestling girls.
What'd you do?
Well, she brought 4 outfits. I posted one already, like a witch. I even went, I broke 2 of my flashes at one time, and they're both being repaired. So I wanted to add in a lot of light and stuff like that. But I had 2 flashes with me, but I have like a cheap little, what do they call it? The witches use the
cauldron.
Cauldron, and I put like a fog machine inside of it with like a little light, and there's like smoke coming out of it, and she's like, you know, whatever. But we did that. We did one. I tarped off this whole studio. We just covered her in blood, and you know, and just stuff like that. So that was fun. I enjoy doing stuff like that. I want to do more stuff like that. Right. But I don't think there's a shortage of ideas. It's following through with the ideas. I think is the problem right now.
No, that's a really good point. Yeah. I feel like I'm lacking in set developing, and like you said, putting in more thought into what I want to shoot. After a while, you shoot the same things over and over again, the same location, and that's something I struggle with too. Like sitting down and coming up with a concept, and then finding the model after. Like I have people want to shoot with me, or set up. I have no shortage of people to shoot with. But it's making something different. That's gonna stand out.
That's kind of what I want to do. I wanted to start even just maybe a notepad on my phone and start jotting down ideas. You know, and utilizing props and who's the other guy that I liked? I'm never gonna remember his name. There's a Spanish guy. I watched a lot of his work and YouTube channel, and but that was one of the things he said that takes people to the next level is putting the thought into the shoot. And you know, I want to find someone that could be like a stylist, you know.
I was thinking about that.
A stylist too, because that could also help take it to the next level.
And they bring their own clothing with them.
You say, hey, you know, this is what actually just you handle that, dressing the person, and I'll handle taking the photos, and you know, we'll put something cool together.
I was talking to somebody up in Atlanta. His name is Sebi Raw. I don't know if you follow him, Sebastian. He's real dope up in Atlanta. And he has a team with him whenever he shoots. Like it's never just him anymore. And then I see his photos. I'm like, why like I love his work. What makes it so different is he has a bunch of people, hair and makeup and stylists and lighting. And
I don't know. I don't know exactly. Like I think maybe I'm, you know, doing the Patreon and stuff like that, and maybe gets me to that point. But is it a group of people that are working for free to create something, or is he paying them?
I don't know. I think it's brand work, honestly.
Yeah.
I think that's where the money is, because shooting models every now and then, it works out well, but the money's in brand work. Yeah. Like having brands hit you up and say, hey, look, I have
here's a budget.
What can we do together? You know, and that's where that's where I'm trying to focus my time too as well, because models are more for fun and very few of them pay.
I mean, I was never into this for money. Right. You know, to me, it was just something fun. It was something different. It was a way to grow a following. And that's basically what I do. So I don't mind shooting models all day long and us collabing.
Definitely.
But because I mean, the content, you got to keep pumping it out no matter what. So you got to do that. And then, helping you grow your following. But hopefully after doing all this collab work and everything, then that's when you get a brand saying, hey, I just happened to me not that long ago. I sent them an invoice. Hey, it's going to cost $6,000. They're like, okay, here you go.
There we go.
But that's the kind of thing that hopefully that leads to,
That's how it should be, though.
Yeah.
Like, that's your livelihood at that point.
Yeah.
It isn't a hobby anymore. Now it's something where you're putting in the time, effort, you're getting the team involved, you're planning out the shoots. Like, that's all time that's value-based.
It's like the shortest piece of time is the actual time you're shooting sometimes.
An hour, maybe two, max.
And then the rest of the time, people, I guess, don't realize that, you're spending hours. I know with that shoot I was just mentioning that they paid like $6,000.
Mm-hmm.
I was booking all the models. I was booking the hair and makeup, the locations, putting ideas together, and then shooting, and then getting them paid, and then editing, and like all that stuff. There's just so much work into doing that.
Like the shoot is, like you said, it's nothing. The shoot is an hour of your time. That's it,
exactly.
I want to get into you start off in nightlife. How did that transfer over creatively into shooting portraits? When you started shooting, like you're shooting a big event, and because the same thing is you're capturing a moment, right, in nightlife, and you want that moment to show that emotion, convey that emotion, and so it was an easy transition into shooting portraits, because you're still looking for emotion when you're shooting a portrait, just maybe a different kind of emotion, but it's still an emotion.
Yeah, I don't. It's hard to say, man. It's really hard to say. Like, I think, to be quite honest with you, the nightlife stuff was more of just like, I think, forced. I needed to do it to help my job, to help my, what I'm doing as a whole, as an event producer, event promoter, DJ. I had to do that. Yeah. So I enjoyed shooting. I enjoyed getting really nice images, but the passion for taking the photos wasn't really there.
Gotcha.
I think then when I moved into starting portrait taking these girls that I know from nightclubs and bars and shooting them, was where the passion was. And I always wonder, what is the passion? What is the drive? What is the motivation? And sometimes I think part of it is giving that person the images and watching their reaction and be like, oh my God, like that's amazing. You make me feel so great. And I think that's part of it. But at the same time also, I mean, it's trivial as it is, but getting the Instagram likes and getting all that and like saying, hey, people like my stuff. It's kind of addicting, and in the world we live in, it's kind of, that's where life has shifted.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
Do you ever feel that pressure to always continue to post and get the likes? Yeah. So it's an everyday thing.
Yeah. It's and not only that, so because I'm doing between the nightlife and the bars and the clubs I work for. So at one point, I was doing 5 social media accounts. So it's like constantly like just, and I wanted to start getting better with something like Hootsuite or one of those programs where I can just do it from the beginning, the beginning of the week, Monday, set it up, let it go. I wouldn't do that with my photography stuff, like my portrait stuff, because that's more important to me, and like what I feel at that moment, I guess, and what I want to put out. But yeah, it's definitely a pressure.
Like I feel overwhelmed. I don't want to say the word overwhelmed. I don't want to put that kind of energy out there because I don't want to feel that way. But I feel more pressure to post just for the sake of posting.
Yeah.
Like if it's been a day or two, I'm like, okay, I need to post something.
I did that. I did that a couple days ago. Like I realized I was so busy. I'm like, shit, I haven't posted in 3 days.
Yeah.
Let me scroll back and see what else I have. There, let's do that.
That's me every single day. You know, and it's almost like I don't want my hobby to be something where it's a pain to do.
Yeah.
Like this start off as a hobby, like same thing with you. I want to enjoy posting. I want to enjoy creating, and sometimes I feel and it's no one's telling me to post. No one's telling me to shoot, but it's my own pressure.
It's ingrained in your head because you hear it everywhere. Especially like even the guy the CEO of Instagram, not Mark Zuckerberg.
The other guy.
The guy with the glasses.
Yeah, with the glasses.
He's always constantly putting out these videos talking about like engagement and how you do it. And then everyone's telling you have to post. You got to post every day, post. So that's where the pressure comes. You feel like, shit, like if I don't post, people are going to like my stuff because the algorithm's going to screw me up. And it's a bad situation that it's gotten to the point where it's like, we're controlled by this, but it defines it defines on who we are sometimes, and it's crazy. And the same thing happened to me in the DJ world. sometimes you book people based on their Instagram following rather than the quality of their work. And it does happen, I feel like, in photography. Yeah. I tell you what, I don't ever like to be a hater, but I see people that, and I'm so new and I don't even like say it, but some people just put out terrible work, but for some reason they have 100,000 followers. So girls want to shoot with them because it's their following, right? You know? But that's the world we live in. Like, social media controls us right now.
Do you only have Instagram or do you have other social media?
I have Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I obviously don't show much attention to the other ones right now. It's Twitter and my Patreon. I make sure, because these guys are paying, so I make sure that I'm putting out and content, even doing giveaways and stuff like that. So, but Instagram, Patreon are what I focus my attention mostly on right now. And the Twitter is something I'm starting to work on because it's cool. Because Twitter, you can upload in full high quality. It doesn't crop your photos.
Less censorship issues.
Less censorship. And it was cool because one of the girls that I shot with, she's a professional wrestler. And she was, before that, she was on a reality TV show. So she had a big Twitter following. Oh, nice. And she posted a photo on Twitter. And I like, it blew up. And it was like every day, all these notifications. I'm like, shit, I need to utilize Twitter more. I mean, look, all these people are following me now. And like, just from her posting that picture. So, I think Twitter would be the next in line. Something I want to focus on. I TikTok. I tried it. Like, I'm not going to go dance or do any of that shit. So
how do you imagine you do the Macarena with the camera in your hand?
Yeah, I'm not doing it yet. But I was posting like little video reels, on there. And I got flagged like 4 times for like a girl in a thong. And I'm like, a thong bikini. And I'm like, okay, this is getting really annoying. And now I'm like, account warning. So I stopped posting it. And I feel like with TikTok, it can't be just that kind of content. It needs to be like engaging content, me like explaining what I'm doing or, adding my editing process. That's probably the kind of content that needs to be on TikTok. But I don't know if I have the time to do all that,
I'm in the same exact boat as you.
Yeah.
Like, I've been flagged. I've been banned a couple of times from TikTok and it's like, it's not even that they're doing anything. Maybe a walking video. Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. It was a girl. It was BTS shooting a girl in the pool. She had a thong bikini on, and they flagged it. Yeah. And then another one I posted, it was a girl with a gun, and they flagged that because I didn't know guns are not allowed.
You can't have guns on.
You got to put like fake gun.
Yeah,
like the caption or something.
Like a little orange.
Yeah, the little
tip or something. I don't know, but so yeah, TikTok for now. I'm not going to waste my energy. Is
there a photo shoot that stands out to you, like recently, that you just enjoyed from beginning to end, and you just enjoyed the entire moment?
Photo shoot that stands out to me. I got to say, all the girls I shoot with, they're all awesome. And people ask me on the wrestling, I'm always going to revert back to the wrestling because that's a big part of what I do right now. But I get a lot of the fans asking me, like, who's your favorite? Who's the best? What's the best shoot?
You better not answer that question.
I don't answer it. I usually just say they're all awesome. And it's actually very true. Yeah. They're all friggin' awesome. And all the girls have been great. There have been a couple that were a little bit of a diva and like a little bit, pain in the ass when it came to editing the photos. But all in all, they're all great. The one I just did with Gigi Dolan, she's her followers are just this girl. She only has like 300,000, 400,000 followers, but all her photos get like 50,000 likes. Crazy. Her engagement is retarded, and her fan base is just so diehard. They love her so much that whenever I shoot with her, my shit blows up all over Reddit. Like if you like, it's weird. I can search and find people talking about me and my work, and like it's really weird to me. But shooting with her is always fun, and we just did the thing with the blood and the smoke, and that was exciting for me to do just something a little bit different, adding in props and stuff. That one was fun for me. They're all great. It's hard to answer that question.
Man, you look so happy. I might get into wrestling photo shoots too.
Yeah, it's fun. These girls are fun.
I have a friend of mine that I shot with. She does wrestling, Jade Cargill. I don't know if you've heard of her.
Yeah.
And so I shot with her.
She's on my list of people.
Yeah, super, super nice girl. Yeah. And then her fans are the same way. They're insane.
One of the girls I shot with just recently is close with her, and she was telling me how they were just talking. But
no, Jade is super dope. And then I posted a picture of hers, and it was everywhere.
Exactly. It's crazy. Like I've had to learn how to like really be careful with what I put out there because like for instance, like I changed my profile picture to one of the girls' photos that I haven't released. Yeah. And it ended up, I see people posting it in Reddit. I follow all these things to just make sure they're not sharing paywalled stuff.
Right.
And all of a sudden it's all over Reddit. And I'm like, just from my little circle photo, someone, I guess there's ways you can extract that photo.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't even know that.
Yeah, you can do anything.
So they extract the photo and they're posting it all over. And it's just like, oh my God, come on. I have to be very careful with what I put out there. And,
it's a business, man. You got to treat it like a business, man.
Yeah.
How are you handling it all? Like all the new work and the new exposure, are you handling it well? Or are you used to that, like being in the nightlife industry?
I'm used to it. Like I've it's just the work in general has been a little overwhelming.
Yeah.
And trying to keep up, like kind of what we've been talking about. I think the hardest part is just making sure that I'm not letting them down, because I got these fans now that are following me, these followers on Instagram and Patreon, just making sure that I constantly am putting out stuff so they're getting their money's worth.
Right.
And I just made merch last night. I ordered keychains. I ordered stickers.
There we go.
So, and I went and mailed out photos the other day. So there's the pressure of that. I feel like I do well under pressure. I always have. Like that's working in nightlife. You have to, like when you're in a nightclub with 500 people and shit's hitting the fan, you got to figure out a way to just kind of keep your cool. Yeah. So I mean, it's working out. I feel fine. I'm a little tired, but other than that,
you should start vlogging, man. I can see you on YouTube with all the shit that you do.
That's something. I think my problem is I always like to do things by myself. And I have to open up and start delegating more and start bringing on other people to the team.
That was my issue.
Yeah, and adding. I'm sure there's other like-minded people like me that are like, okay, I'm not going to charge this guy an arm and a leg. I'll come video because I have a passion for it, and I think it'll help us grow. Yeah. So if I can find people like that are willing to join my team,
100%,
that's where I'd like to be. I mean, we could put out YouTube videos. We can, if I have a guy that can just follow me around with the camera during the shoot, and like,
that's going to be my little brother right here. He's going to follow me around with the camera because I feel like
I found a really great guy in Orlando. He's done the last two shoots with me, and he puts out great video content, but he's not cheap. And that's kind of one of the reasons I do the Patreon, to be able to afford that. But it'd be nice to find someone who's just got that passion, who wants to collab with me. I don't want anything for free.
Right.
I want someone to work with me, and we both kind of
grow together.
Yeah. That's the goal. But I would love to do that. I would love to be able to put out more true behind the scenes stuff, because as I said, people always use that term. Some guy will take a video camera and he'll record a video of a girl and be behind the scenes. Like that's not really to me behind the scenes. I'd like someone to videotape the whole process, packing the gear, planning, meeting the girls, shaking the hands, and putting out like a nice 5-minute YouTube video. So that would be something I'd be interested in doing.
I think that's something that all photographers should do more of, because you can only make so many photos, right? You can only put out so much content out like that. And what's missing is that personal touch, right? And one of the reasons why I started the podcast is because many people just know you by your name until they meet you in person,
right? Exactly.
And so it's being able to, we're actual people who have lives. And
it's funny because there's a couple clips of me on my feed from videos, but no one knows who the hell I am.
Right.
And it's kind of funny, I'll book models. I'm like, I didn't know you were so tall. I didn't know.
I heard that when you shot with Christy, but she was here I think a summer ago.
Yeah.
And she was, he's so tall. And I was like, okay, cool.
Picture like this little nerdy guy, with a beard and long hair and tattoos, and I'm like, oh, okay. But that's why this is great. And I wanted to start doing. My idea was, I guess it's a podcast, but I want to start taking the girls and doing even just like a live stream, and just asking them questions on a live stream,
100%.
something like that, something to get a little bit more behind the scenes.
And I think that transitions better to TikTok and other platforms, because now it's less showing off body, it's more personality, it's more stories.
It's easy. Not for this, because you've got to edit this and this, but something like a live stream where I can say, hey, just send me your feed, let me go in OBS and put it out, and we'll just sit here and I can record that.
Right.
I can get followers to watch it live, and then I can post it later, and I don't have to really do color grading or editing or any of that stuff.
It's literally press play and record and upload.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you find difficult so far in your career? Like things that you found that just for some reason they're not clicking the way that they should be clicking? For me, it's the marketing side of it, getting my work out there to more people. Yeah. Right. That's always been hard for me.
Yeah. I feel I've felt right now I'm kind of, I just did this shoot. So I'm getting all these followers and stuff right now. So my Instagram was kind of blowing up over the last few days. So it's hard for me to say, but growing more and growing faster. It's like I'm a very like impatient person. I'm like,
you've grown so fast, man.
Yeah, I know I have.
You've grown so. It's not. Here I am with negative growth, and you're like,
I'm not negative about it. It's just like Instagram is hard to grow on, and it's a key thing right now, I think, to grow. So I think getting more followers and getting my work out to more people that are outside of that Instagram social media realm, that's a little difficult sometimes, but the time for me, I think, is the hardest thing, and it's the thing that stresses me out the most. Is like I'll constantly I'm not great at managing my time. I guess that's one of probably my downfalls. Is like my organization skills could definitely be better at my time management. I'll book shoots and put myself in these situations where it's like I'm wearing myself out. I'm trying to do too much. So I think that's the hardest thing for me, is just finding the time and organizing my time properly and prioritizing, like we said earlier, prioritizing what's important. Yes, I want to shoot with my friend who I've known for 10 years and do something for her because she wants it. But not that I want money from them, but I don't have time for it.
Right.
And saying no to that person. So I think that's probably the most challenging part.
It's being overwhelmed. Is there anything that you wish you would have known before when you first started shooting compared to what you know now?
Yes. The gear I bought. Like I said earlier, I just started buying everything that came up. I have some stupid things. Like I bought like 6 speed lights, and I had like a little contraption where you put 3 speed lights on one and you put it on top of your head. Oh my God. The money I wasted on gear. That's definitely something I wish back. Like it's kind of the same thing I tell people with the DJing stuff. Like, buy the gear you need, buy the right gear from the beginning. Don't waste your money. I'll just buy this. I'll try this. I'll try that. Like, wait till you know what you want, and then buy it.
Right.
I wasted a lot of money just on garbage.
Just buying everything.
Things that are just, I end up either throwing away or giving to someone. Other than that, what would I say?
Is there anything that you see like young photographer mistakes that they make, or that, let me actually switch it up a little bit. Is there anything that pisses you off about photography sometimes? Like when you see the way other people work and you see the work that they're uploading?
Well, I tell you that, like, for instance, there's a guy I know in my head that I have in my head right now. I'm not going to call him out or anything like that. But people, I think, that need to perfect their craft before they start putting it out there. Yeah. People that are just trying to jump in, which I can appreciate. You're trying to jump in. I think I was 6 months into doing photography before I even started my Instagram. Wow. Like I think maybe less than that, maybe 3 months. But until I really started, okay, I'm willing to put this out. Perfecting your craft before you're putting it out. Other than that, just like
red flags you've heard about.
I've heard a lot about red flags. I guess that's something fun to talk about. Is what I like to ask is, my girlfriend calls me Nosy Nelson, because I always like to anytime something's going on, I whip out my camera. I'm like, I'm going to be the next on
You're the guy behind the wall.
I'm world star. I don't know. I love drama. I guess that's my love for professional wrestling, because that's all that is drama. Right. But I always ask girls, like, can tell me some of your experiences that are like with photographers, and like, girls talk about like just perverts and guys like try to take them out to drink. Like I remember one girl in particular, she said something to my friend, which I found was interesting. And my friend told me, she said that it was weird that when the shoot was over, you packed up your stuff and said, you're going to get your kid, and shook her hand and like said bye. I'm like, well, why is that weird? Most photographers are ask you to go out and have a drink, and I'm like, really? Like I'm here to do a job. I'm not here to like. And I like hearing their stories. Like this one girl was telling me a story about the photographer that had a boner, and and stories about guys being creepy afterwards and texting them like randomly in the middle of the night saying, "Hey, what are you doing? What do you want to hang out?" And those are always like, there's a list in my head of photographers that I've heard that I warn people, like, don't deal with that person if you don't want to deal with that. So, I love that gossip. I love hearing all that stuff.
No, and it sucks. There's so much of it.
Yeah. And it makes sense. And I talk about it all the time. It makes sense because a lot of times I tell you what, I can look at a person's picture and tell you if they're that guy, because their pictures usually suck.
Yeah.
They're usually their composition's terrible, the editing is terrible, but the girl's like completely naked doing something totally fucking slutty. And am I allowed to say that? I don't know.
You can say whatever you want. They look uncomfortable in the picture.
Yeah,
they don't even look happy to be there.
And you can just tell. And I'm like, this guy is some guy that probably doesn't get a lot of attention from women, and he thinks this is his way in and his way to get around girls, and he's going to kind of be a predator about it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of that.
Yes.
And, you know, I'm not like that. I've worked, like I said, I worked in nightlife, so I was surrounded by beautiful women. I worked in strip clubs. I was around naked women all my life. Like, to me, it doesn't even register.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? I'm here to do a job. I'm here to create content. I'm here to, you know, I don't think you'll never find a person that ever says I've ever crossed a boundary, because I take pride in making sure I don't cross boundaries. Because the last thing I want is one person to tell one person, all of a sudden.
And it's like high school. This industry is like high school. Everyone knows about it in a second.
But stay super professional. And that's the one thing I think about other photographers that would kind of, they ruin it for other people.
They do.
You know, and like, that's like, you know, you get girls that are just like standoffish about shooting with a new person because they've had bad experiences.
100%.
But I think I've shot with enough people now where I've made a reputation for myself, so I don't have to deal with that as much. But I'm sure at first they're like, "Who is this guy? I don't know anything about him." Don't know, you know. And on the other hand, it's crazy. There's some models that I won't call any out that are just completely unsafe about it. Like people that I've shot with, and I'm like, oh yeah, just pick me up. I'm by myself. Here's my house. This is where I live.
Yeah, that too. And very little common sense.
I'm like, you need to be a little more careful.
Definitely.
Because that's not, you know, there's a lot of weirdos out there.
Something that I always do, especially when it's the first time I'm shooting with someone, is like the day before or the morning of, I'll say, hey, look, if you want to bring anybody with you, mom, dad, brother, boyfriend, husband, dog, whoever you want to bring with you, please bring them.
And a lot of girls do that. Like a good majority of girls are like, hey, can I bring my husband or can I bring my fiance? Absolutely.
Yeah, you don't have to ask for that. Just bring whoever you like.
And I think that's a way, and I've seen people post that, that's a red flag when the person says you can't bring someone with you.
I've heard that a couple of times, and I always tell because I've had my friends ask me, hey, is this normal that this guy says don't bring anybody? I said, who's the guy? Don't ever go by yourself, ever.
Yeah. You know? I think that's a huge red flag. Yeah. And I saw a model posting about it probably a month ago. The girl was like, asked to bring my boyfriend with me, you know, to help me, and he said no. And I think she posted his response, and he was like a total asshole about it. And like she's like, and she canceled the shoot. And he got all bent out of shape. That's definitely a red flag.
That's a huge red flag. That's a predator, isn't a photographer.
Yeah,
anymore.
exactly.
I know.
Exactly.
And it's sad that it's like that because, like you said, it ruins it for other photographers. Yeah. If photographers are professional about it, and that's the business, and it ruins the entire thing. So I always tell girls, don't ever, if you feel uncomfortable any moment before a shoot, don't even go. Don't even bother. Yeah. If you hear any crazy rumors, you know, I understand the benefit of the doubt, but don't put yourself in a situation like that ever.
Do your research.
Do your research. Ask around. Ask other models.
And that's what it's like. I think a lot of times, like, then the girls will tell me, like, I asked my friend about you. I asked my friend about you. Exactly. And they said you were awesome. And definitely do your research. Don't just shoot with any random guy. Never.
Dark, random street corner. Like
maybe in the back alley.
Maybe in the back alley over here.
Spot.
At 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Boy.
That just reminded me of, there's a guy that I hear a lot about. And what they say is he asked to do shoots at like 9, 10 p.m. all the time. He gives them drugs and alcohol and you know, all this weird shit. And like, it's part of my process. And like, you know,
I heard this Russian dude named Yuri who does that shit a lot. And I don't mind calling him out. Yeah. And I've had multiple, it's one thing if you hear from one person, you know,
when you hear
maybe, but his name was multiple times. And I'm like, yo, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like at that point, it's not a coincidence. Yeah. Right? It's multiple different people at different times that do the same thing.
Okay. If you're comfortable with someone, you want to have a drink, you know, that's fine. But if someone who's like, you just meet them and they're pushing shots on you, like it's photo shoot, that's a little weird, you know? Have
you ever had any experiences with models though? Like let's flip it up instead of photographers, models.
Like bad models?
Bad, good.
Like bad experiences with models?
I've never had any. I've been very lucky. I've never had any bad ones. I've had this
question a few times, and to be quite honest with you, I don't think I've really had any bad experiences. Yeah. I've had a couple girls, not that I'm some hot fucking deal, but I've had a couple girls that tried to like hang out and do that. And I'm in a relationship, and I usually kind of just blow by that question.
Right.
You know, I can't think of anything off the top of my head besides like just girls kind of being a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
I can tell you a funny story that just happened she's a pretty well-known influencer, and she wasn't being a pain in the ass at all. But here's the situation. So I shoot with this girl. She wants to get edits, and she's like kind of writing me like, hey, I really could use those pictures. Can you get it done? Can you get it done? And I'm in the middle of doing 2 million things. And I have a guy that will help me edit photos if I need it, pay him like, you know, here's $3. He'll do some retouching for me. And I write him and I said, hey, listen, this girl really needs this photo quick. And I said, hey, she's being a pain in my ass. She's driving me crazy. Can you just get this girl these photos for me? Help me out. And I actually texted her. I actually said, and the whole time I'm like, oh my God. And then 2 weeks later, the whole unsend thing comes out on an iPhone. But yeah, so I write her a message saying, this girl's being a total pain in my ass. She's driving me nuts.
Oh no. Can
you edit the photo and get this so she'll leave me alone? And I wrote her, and this is the honest truth, is I wrote him saying that to just kind of light a fire under his ass, say, okay, let me help this, just to knock it out.
Yeah.
And I told her that. I'm like, I am so sorry. You are not a pain in the ass. I'm just literally trying to get this guy to hurry up.
Yeah, to work fast.
You know, and you know, she actually skipped over it. We didn't really ever talk about it again.
Oh wow.
But yeah, that was kind of funny. But no, I haven't really had any bad experiences.
I think the worst thing, and it's not even a bad thing, but like models like not showing up during a shoot or like that.
I had that. Yeah. That's when I got one for you. Yeah. In Wynwood, I had this girl that wanted to shoot with me, and we set up this whole thing. And I rented a studio in Wynwood. I think the shoot was we were going to shoot from 2 to 4. I had to be at work at like 6 or 7. So I get there 1:30. It's like $100 an hour. And the girl's like, I'm getting my hair and makeup done. And I'm like, all right. So she writes me, I'm a little behind. I think she was supposed to start at 2. She's like, I'll be there at 2:30. 2:30 rolls around, still there. Now she's not responding to me. 3 o'clock rolls around. Now you're an hour. I swear. I'll be there. I'll be there at 3:30. And I'm like, okay, I'll extend for another hour.
Right. Extend the location.
Yeah. And I paid for this out of my pocket. This is when I was like kind of starting too. So I was like, okay, I'll pay and I want the experience. So I extended now till 5. Okay. 5 o'clock rolls around. She's still not here.
Damn. Still
not there. I'm sitting there by myself in the studio for 3 hours. And I'm like, I'm leaving.
She just never showed up?
Didn't show up. Wasn't responding to me. I leave. Oh. I'm 30 minutes into my drive at 5:30. Have to get back to work. She writes me, I'm here. And I'm like, I'm gone. Yeah. I'm out. Yeah. I waited 3 hours for you, and you haven't been responding to me for the last hour. Yeah. She starts yelling at me and being rude to me that I left after she just spent all this money on hair and makeup. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, so I let it go, and I said, I'm not even gonna bother. I drove home, whatever. She ends up actually writing me and apologizing to me like a few days later. And can we shoot again? I'm like, we'll see, maybe one day. But I never did shoot with her again. But yeah, that was a bad experience, and it cost me $300, you know, to book this studio that I never shot in. I literally sat there for 3 hours, hanging out by myself in the studio.
Was it a paid shoot or was it like a collab?
No, it was just a collab with her.
Yeah, it sucks. It's usually that's all. Your time is,
you know, we get into, yes, there's been a lot of flakes, a lot of no shows. You know, with the collabs with like Instagram models, a lot of that. So it's like, I almost had to point out, it's like a 50-50 chance if they're going to show up anytime. Right. Working in the wrestling community, like 2 weeks ago, I went to Orlando, booked an Airbnb, overbooked myself, just booked all these girls to show. Cause they all showed, you know, cause they're professionals.
Right.
So that would be my only downfall. The only thing I could say about models is no shows and
it's bad communication in general.
Bad communication.
I had a friend of mine, out in LA, and what he told me was especially for collabs, he does a deposit.
Yeah.
And so if you show up and you shoot, you get the money back. And he said that it worked for him. So even for collabs, like it was like $50, like a $50 deposit. Yeah. And then they get there, you give the money back, and they shoot, and it's a great time.
Yeah.
And I want to start implementing that. I think it's amazing because it's happened so often where it's like, I got to figure out a way it's time you can never get back. So
girls also, some showing up completely disheveled.
Oh yeah,
I've had that a couple times, and then I've had girls that show up and then take an hour and a half to get ready.
Yeah,
and I'm like, I want you to be ready, like hair, makeup done, ready to rock and roll.
Right.
And then we get into shooting. You want to take 15, even 30 minutes? Okay, fine. But I had one girl that I had a space rented for 2 hours, and it took her an hour and a half to get ready. We shot for 30 minutes. Right. And this is a girl that I paid. Oof. And she charged me the full price. And I never even said anything. I just never shot with her. And then she kept asking me, let's shoot again. Let's shoot again. Yeah, sorry, just kind of busy. Can't shoot with you. It
sucks when it's like a morning shoot. Like you want to do sunrise, for example. And then you have a window of time where the lighting is perfect. But then after that, it's gone. Yep. And so if you're 10 minutes late, 10 minutes is a long time when you're trying to get that light.
Yeah, I've been in that situation for a sunrise shoot. And the girls were taking forever. And I'm like, guys, let's get it going. We don't have
racing the sun now.
10 minutes is a big thing.
Yeah. 5 minutes is a big thing.
Yeah. You have that short window. Otherwise, if the sun gets too high, that's too bright. If the sun's too low, it's too dark.
Are you natural light or off-camera flash?
I'm off-camera flash.
Gotcha.
I've been doing more natural. There's a beach in Jupiter at Du Bois that I shoot that has a great sunset, and it's like in the intercoastal, great sunset. I've been doing natural light there. I feel comfortable there. I've dabbled a little bit. The one I posted that I said I readjusted, that was natural light because it clicked. It happened at the right moment. I was there. The sun was coming in. She was right there. It was perfect. But I love off-camera flash. I think that's kind of why I got interested in photography was trying to figure that out.
You have a very clean look.
Yeah, and not trying to overdo it. Trying to do it and not. I'd like people to look at the picture and not be able to tell it's off-camera flash.
Exactly.
But obviously some of them you'll be able to tell. But some of them, people will ask, is that a flash? Is that
That's the goal. That's the goal.
Yeah, exactly. But I enjoy flash because I think it adds a little bit of a more of a challenge. I think
definitely.
I mean, yes, natural light's a challenge, but balancing the exposure and the flash, makes it a little more fun. I guess
that makes it more challenging.
Yeah, yeah.
Is there any photographer that you look up to right now, or somebody's work that you're like, wow, this guy is?
Oh, Joey Wright.
Yeah,
Joey Wright. It's like
he keeps coming up in all the episodes. He comes up. Joey Wright.
Yeah, because he's the guy. He's the guy. Yeah. Actually, I've talked to him. Like we've chatted on social media a little bit. And I'm actually, there's an event on Saturday that I'm shooting in Miami.
I think I'm going to go to.
Are you going to be there?
Yeah, I think I might be.
So you'll be there. I'll be there.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
All right, I might go now because Joey P's going to be there too. You're going to be there now. Joey Wright. Oh, there's some heavy hitters going on.
It'll be fun. Yeah, it'll be fun. I've talked to some of the girls, and I'm sure that's one of those situations where there'll be a ton of flakes. So, I'm just going to go there. I'd like to meet Joey. I'd like to shoot a little bit, a couple hours, and then I'll probably come back and go to work.
Same way.
Not going to do anything crazy.
Same.
Yeah, I want to understand what this guy does, like his process, because he's not charging anyone, and it's invite only. He picks like some good photographers, he picks good models, and he had a great lineup. So
I think a couple girls hit me up too, saying, "Hey, I want to book a time slot." I don't know how that works either. So I've never done that before.
I'll be there. Let's just bring some stuff, and I didn't lock anything in.
Same.
There's a girl and one of the things that actually, and I always say to younger, newer photographers, like I'm some. Legend that's been around for a long time. But people do ask, and I say finding those meetup events are great because A, it's great for networking, and B, you get a lot of content in one day. Yeah. There was one girl that I did her events, and I unfortunately probably won't do it again, just because she charges a lot, and then you also have to pay the models, and she just seems to be bringing back the same models. So I've already shot with a lot of them, and she's reusing a location that she already shot in. So great event, but organized. But I probably won't be doing that one, but. Going to those events they're great. They're great for networking. They're great for getting a lot of content in a short period of time.
This is my first event, so I've never done like a group meetup type of thing.
Yeah, I enjoy doing it. And it's something that if I had more time, I'd probably put them together again, not for a financial gain, but for networking. Yeah. I've met a lot of people through doing those.
Definitely. So. Oh, cool. Good to know.
Yeah.
Cool. Is there any, just to close it off, is if you could pick the ideal location, ideal model, ideal everything for a shoot, like what would it be?
Oh God!
Like there's no budget. Like the budget is whatever you want it to be. If you
budget is whatever.
It's whatever you want. There's no unlimited money for you to plan the shoot out and execute it.
Oh God, that's a hard one. I tell you what, it would probably be in like a European country.
Okay. Got to be specific with it.
I know I am. I'm trying to narrow it down. Oof. Like Greece.
Okay.
they have just a lot of their buildings have a lot of texture, and it's a beautiful area, and there's like beaches and stuff like that. Oh man, this is really hard.
Sky's the limit here.
Sky is the limit.
The moment you have it all, you can't think about what you want. It's crazy. Yeah,
I would say let's just go with like even Mexico.
Yeah.
Mexico has I tell you why, because I like backgrounds that have like texture and you know, even a little bit run down. And I feel like just going into Mexico, you can find some really cool like cool backgrounds and cool textures and. I'm not picky. I'm not hard. I don't need anything too crazy. I guess that's why it's a harder question to answer. You know who I really like? Troy B. Flying.
Yes.
So he's he's one of the first guys I ever talked about photography and worked with. He always finds the greatest locations. Yeah. So I'd have to probably confide in him and say, hey, where is this? But like he does a lot of like European stuff. Russia, I think, is another place. Maybe not right now. Not right now. Probably not a great time.
Maybe in a few years.
But I don't know. It's too hard. Yeah. I'm going to just go with like a nice, you know, a Greece or a Rome. A Rome would be nice. With I can't pick them all because I love them all. They're all amazing.
Would it be more fashion, more lifestyle, more
fashion, lifestyle? Yeah. I wouldn't be like we do the lingerie bikini thing all the time. It would be more, I think, like walking across, you know, like the wind blowing and the flowy clothes and a nice street in some famous area in Rome.
Yeah. Oh, speaking about that, real quick, have you ever done any of the Paradise challenges?
No. That's something on my bucket list.
Yeah, I want to go to Jamaica next year.
Yeah, so that's definitely on the list.
And I think they do Dubai too, right? They do Dubai and Italy.
Yeah, I saw Dubai.
Next year.
Well, save a little money, put a little money.
There we go.
And get permission from the girlfriend. Hey, do you mind if I
bring the girlfriend with you?
That's what I get all the time. Bring her with me. But yeah, Jamaica, that would be that's definitely on the bucket list to do that.
Definitely. Well, brother, I appreciate you so much for coming on here and having this conversation with me and being open and transparent and telling me about your experiences and your story.
I had a great time.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
This is wonderful.
Thank you. I hope you come here and shoot here one day.
I will. I 100% will.
Awesome, brother. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Bye.